everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and I am a full-time reseller. On today's video, I do have a what sold video. These will be from like September 17th through September 27th, kind of in that time frame. If you are new to the channel, I've switched up how I've done my what sold videos. In the past, I used to do every single thing that I sold for 1 week's time. Now I'm kind of switching it up a little bit and picking higher dollar items, things that went quickly, keywords I'm using. That way I'm not showing you low dollar sales and just repetitive sales, because I do mainly do style-based vintage thrifting. So it kind of gets repetitive. I sell a lot of skirts, I sell a lot of dresses, and I get bored talking about it, so I'm sure you guys are bored watching the same type of things being sold. So that is the time frame that we are working with. The first item that I'm showing you, this was a sale on eBay. This is from the brand White Stag, one of my best-selling brands. It was like a tie front duster, open knit, crocheted, like cardigan, I guess you could call it. The title I used for this one, Vintage 90s Y2K Tan Crochet Open Knit Beachy Mermaid Core Duster Size Small. Anytime that I have like this open knit crochet that kind of looks more beachy than like woodsy, I guess, I kind of go the route of beachy, mermaid core, festival, that kind of vibe. So this one was picked up at the bins. Most items these days are picked up at the bins, and this one did go for $28. Over to Depop, this was kind of a fun little piece. This was from the brand Cinema Itoli. I don't know if I'm saying that. I probably am not saying that correctly. This one I picked up, I can't remember if it was Goodwill or the bins. If it would have been Goodwill, it only would have been $4.99. I think it was Goodwill. This one I titled Vintage 90s Red Sexy Lace Up Front Corset Swiss Dot Boudoir Lace Corset Large. So I used corset in that one twice. I also put that it had the garter straps. It did have some light boning. I put in there holiday, Valentine's, party, devil costume. This one was pretty cool because it had the clasps in the back, but then you could also kind of like unlace the front that was all laced up. So you kind of had some room to, fit into it. This one was a full price sale and it did go for $40. Back over to eBay, this was a Jessica Howard dress. I just wanted to show this because this is a very classic style for the upcoming season of holiday Christmas parties. I always pick up dresses that are in this colorway and kind of this vibe. I titled this one Jessica Howard Dark Green Holiday Velvet Party Cocktail Dress Size 12. It's just a very flattering style. I don't think that this style really ever goes out of style just because it's just so flattering to a lot of different body types. It has that little bit of draping in the front, so it gives you a little bit of an illusion of maybe a flatter waistline. So this type of style dress I will pick up all the time. This one ended up going for $21. Still on eBay, this one I couldn't believe that this coat was at the bins. I don't know if maybe people thought there was an issue with it. It's Marmont. It had it was down-filled, and some of the feathers were kind of like peeking out through the seam. So I don't know if maybe people were like, I don't want to deal with that. So I took a little tweezers and I picked out some of them. At some point I was like, okay, I'm giving up on this. I will just note it because maybe that's just, an issue with this jacket. So I titled this one Marmot. It was Fordham Blue Down-Filled Puffer Zip Front Jacket with Hood, size medium. This was a men's. Kind of heavy because it is down-filled. Got this at the bins. I probably paid, because it was a little bit heavier, like probably 4 pounds, so $5-6. I did sell this one on my 18% off coupon, so the buyer ended up paying about $74 plus shipping for this. Over to Depop. I think I talked about this maybe last week's video about scarves. That is something I've definitely opened my eyes up to because of the fact that they're selling so well. This was 3 different scarves. They were all kind of like earthy tones, very moody, very fall, witchy, whimsy goth. Let's see. So the 3 of them came from the bins. They didn't all come from the same day. I am trying to accumulate them whenever I find them in styles that make sense to me to put together and that I think are currently in style, if that makes sense. I'm not picking up every scarf. It's got to be something that kind of has an artsy look to it or something that's very Y2K. I think I have maybe some that I'm showing here later on that fits that category. Maybe something that's very preppy, but like I said, not everything am I picking up in scarves. So this was three, very lightweight. I probably only paid like $2 or $3 for them, and this was a full price sale for $30. Poshmark, this came from the reseller lot that I bought out from somebody. I had never heard of this brand before. Tula, I think is what it is. It appears to be a vintage brand. The fabric really reminded me of St. John. At first I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna sell this. It doesn't look to be like anything. I'm glad I looked it up. I did sell it as a set, so it was a top blazer type sweater deal, and then the skirt. They were both a size 12. It was a heavier knit, and they did go for $35. Very quickly. I think this one sold in 2 days. Still on Poshmark, this was a small bundle. It was a cream open knit sweater. It had some fringe to it, and then another witchy type top, kind of a satin feel, groovy 70s vibe. These two ended up going for $44. Still on Poshmark, I know I showed this big haul of skirts. It's been a couple months, I think, at this point. They're slowly selling now, which is fine because they all kind of had like a fall vibe to them. This one I titled Vintage 90s Grunge Dark Romantic Full Whimsy Goth Witchy Skirt Large. This one had quite a few likes on Poshmark, quite a bit of interest on Depop and eBay, and this buyer got it for $27. Still on Poshmark, Baltic Born. I've talked about this brand a couple times now. This style dress just does well for me every time I find it. This could be worn as a bridesmaid. It could be a holiday dress. It could be a black tie dress, maybe, depending on where you're going. It could be a wedding guest dress. This was new at tags, size large. Baltic Born, I believe, has the style codes in the tag. Otherwise, it's very easy to Google Lens them to find the actual name of the dress. This was Lydia, and this one did go for $45. This Zara skirt also came from that reseller buyout. Zara, I have a love-hate relationship with that brand. I feel like when I first started reselling, I don't even know how long ago that was, 5-6 years ago at this point, it was like Zara was, you know, the it brand, and it sold very well, and now it's just certain pieces do well and other pieces are gonna sit forever. It's very oversaturated. This was kind of a fun skirt. It had some pleating on it. It was faux leather in this brown color. It had a belt. It was new at tags and a size large, which I don't normally find in Zara. I feel like Zara and Free People, I always find like extra small, maybe medium. So this one was a large, and it did go for $45. Back over to Depop, this was more of a style-based pickup as opposed to the brand. The brand is White House Black Market. There are some pieces that still do well for me in that brand, but this style of jacket, this like military type style with the buttons, it's kind of more form-fitted. It doesn't matter the brand, it always seems to move. This was also a 00, so very, very tiny. This came from the bins. I did also put in their steampunk, date night, moto, biker, and this one had quite a bit of attention on Depop, 27 likes. I didn't think, honestly, that this would sell on Depop, but it did, and it ended up going for an offer of $20. Still on Depop, this was from a vintage brand. What was it here? CDC, never heard of that brand. This one is same type of keywords that I use on almost all dresses that are similar to this. Vintage 90s, moody, mystical, whimsy goth, Stevie Nicks, maxi dress, slit size 10. This one had kind of a fun back. It had some straps that crossed, and this one ended up going for an offer of $25.60. Still on Depop, this was a bundle deal. Maurice's, again, another brand that sells very well for me in style-based pieces. For the most part, some of the newer stuff does well in plus sizes. This was like a sheer overlay cover-up in that really moody, dark velvet, floral, like applique. It had some lace on it. Very on trend for right now for fall. It was a size small, medium. And then this BKE Boutique, I think this one was. It was a velvet vest. It had this like, it had ruching. It was kind of fitted. It was definitely a little bit unique, that was one reason why I picked it up, based on just the style, not the brand. It had frayed edges. I titled this one BKE Velvet Raw Hem Grunge Fairy Steampunk Woodsy Goblin Core Tie Waist Vest Medium. So it did have this little belt type detail on it. It was really cool. This one was a size medium, and the two of those items went for $46.50. Over to Mercari, Dominique. This is a brand, like Dominique and Honeylove, I would say, are my favorite shapewear brands to sell. I find them, Honeylove I don't find as often, but this Dominique, I find all the time at our Goodwill. I've talked about this, I've said this a couple times. I'm wondering if it is like a line that maybe some of the bridal stores in town carry in store, and then, you know, certain sizes and styles that don't sell, they just donate, because I find it a lot new with tags and like groups of them together, and I always pick them up. This was the Dominique Aerial Hidden Underwire Longline Strapless Bra in a 40 double D new with tags, and this one ended up going for $32. Back over to Depop. This was a Taco Bell shirt. I think I showed this in a haul. I wasn't sure how much I was going to get for this, honestly. I figured I could throw in some keywords and it might help sell it for a little bit more. I titled this one Taco Bell Trippy Big Back Hit Purple Tie-Dye Groovy Short Sleeve Shirt. This one, I couldn't read the size. It measured to be about an extra large. There was minimal cracking on the back. And it ended up going for $17, and this person was like super excited to get it for their boyfriend, and I'm happy about it. I mean, I picked this up at the bins. I was probably thinking I was going to sell it more for like $12, $15, but I definitely am good with $17. Back over to Poshmark. This is from the brand Paparazzi. I paid way too much for this dress at Savers. I think I paid like $10 to $12. At the time, comps looked good, but it sat forever. I might have had it listed for too high. It was new at tags. I put in here blue, white, coastal, vacation, boho, embroidery, flowy midi dress, size extra large, and someone finally got it for $34. Back over to Mercari. This was a little bundle. The first item was this dress. A really pretty like grunge dress. I titled this one Vintage Y2K 90s Black Grunge Mesh Nylon Lace Midi Witchy Whimsy. Got the dress 6. That's from the brand Sangria. I think I've sold a couple things from that brand. The other item was a pair of vintage Y2K Element skate shorts. Element was a skateboarding brand. I don't know if it still is. It might be. These were like micro mini shorts, very, very tiny. And they were, let's see, a size 5. Both of these items were picked up at the bins, and this bundle went for $50. Back over to Depop. This is from American Eagle. I found a couple of these dresses at Goodwill. I did pay up for them, $7.99. I think they were both from 2024. They're just very on trend. It was kind of like a cottagecore tiered maxi dress. The other one I think had more of a corset top, but quite a bit of interest on this one, and it did end up going for $36 on Depop. Back over to Poshmark. This was kind of an interesting sale to me. I didn't think A, it was going to go as fast as it did, and B, for as much as it did. This was from the brand Michael Kors. I normally do not pick like anything up from this brand, maybe plus sizes. This was a medium. It was pretty basic. At the time, I knew maybe I shouldn't have picked it up, but I guess I'm glad that I did. It kind of had like this draped wrap look to it. Size medium, just in a navy blue. And this one, I did put in the keywords timeless, layering, quiet luxury, and this ended up going for $23. I was definitely thinking probably more like $17, but happy to see $23. Still on Poshmark, these were a pair of Athleta Retreat linen wide leg pants. They did have a little flared slit type detail at the hemline. This really pretty like tealish blue. They were a size 10 tall. These did not take long to sell at all, and they did go for $30. Over to eBay, this was a Blink-182 shirt. I don't find Blink-182 merchandise, I don't think ever. This was the first time I ever found it. It was at the bin, so I definitely knew I was going to pick it up. This one did also go on my 18% off with the coupon, so the buyer ended up paying around $18 for the shirt plus shipping. Still on eBay, this was a vintage Bob Mackie silk scarf. This also came in that reseller lot that I bought. I'm gonna look that up today and see where I'm at on making my money back from that, because I have to be close at this point. This had some like piano keys on it, some stars. It was very electric, kind of in your face. Let's see. So this one also went with the 18% off coupon, and the buyer ended up paying around $33 for this scarf. Still on eBay, this was a Jelly Roll shirt. I did pay up for this. It was at Goodwill on the new rack, and I think they had it for $9.99. I looked up comps, and I was pretty sure that I could at least double my money. Jelly Roll is pretty big, I would say. This shirt was branded from his concert, and it was comfort color, so it was very nice quality. It looked like maybe somebody bought it. I think he was in Cadap this year for Rockfest, I think. So I'm wondering if maybe somebody bought it there and then just donate it. I don't know why you'd do that, but whatever. It ended up going on my 18% off coupon, so the buyer ended up paying, let's see, about $37 plus shipping. Over to Poshmark, the brand Dixon. I will always pick up this brand. Actually, a woman's Dixon plaid button-up. It was a size medium, new with tags. Goodwill must not have known what it was because it was just in like the regular shirts. I think I paid $6 for this and it went for $40. Back over to eBay. This is another Athleta pair of pants. Surprisingly, Athleta is doing well for me, but I will put a big but there. I don't pick everything up from Athleta anymore. Leggings, I pretty much always pass unless they are like within the last 2 years probably. I kind of stick more to joggers, wide legs, flares, like jackets, outerwear, bras I don't really even look at anymore. It's definitely going to have to be something that is newer, excellent condition, or a really good size. That's kind of my criteria for Athleta. I always make sure to check the tag to look up comps. They do put in a little style code, so it's very easy to do that. I would suggest doing that just because Athleta is another one of those brands that used to be very, very popular, and almost anything you bought would sell. Now, not so much. These were the Athleta ski down joggers in a purple. They were a size 6, and they ended up going for $24 plus shipping. Still on eBay, this is Eliza J. I don't pick up everything from this brand. If it's a really plain style, I kind of stay away from that. It needs to have something special about it. This one was really pretty. It was almost floor length, floral. It had this big ruffle type thing that was in the front. Size 12, so a really good size. I just got this at Savers. This sold, I want to think like within 2 weeks, and it ended up going for $32.80 plus shipping. Over to Depop, this was from the brand Eyeshadow, so not a great brand by any means. This one I think was probably more like the 2010s, but I knew some keywords could sell this, and it was very lightweight, picked up at the bins. I titled it Groovy Floral, Hippie Mixed Print, Ruffle, Open Front, Brown Tone, size medium, and this one ended up going for an offer of $14.50. Still on Depop, this was another dress. This one had a lot of attention. I think I relisted it a couple times though, which kind of makes sense because the dress definitely is giving more of a fall vibe than summer. It's that silhouette that I love selling. It is like maxi midi length. It has the little drawstring ties in the back. This was from the brand Northern Reflections, size 14. It had a little bit of a texture to it. This time around it had 44 likes, and this one ended up going for my full asking price of $28. To Poshmark, I know I showed this dress not that long ago in a haul. It was vintage Fashion Bug, plus size 22, 24. It had that little neck, neck detail with the charm on it, so it kind of made you look like you were wearing a choker. And this one was a maxi length, and it did go for $34. Back over to Depop, here are 2 more scarves that I was just talking about. This had more of the Y2K preppy vibe. I titled this one Vintage Y2K Bright Pink Teal Girly Pastel Sparkly Scarf Lot 2. and I just show in the cover photo the 2 scarves, and then I show them on a mannequin so that they individually on a mannequin in the other photos so they can kind of see how they can be worn. And once again, both of these came from the bins, and it ended up going for an offer of $16. This is one time where I think that the brand is also helping the style of this vintage piece. It's Sunny Lee. I've sold quite a few tops from this brand. They all kind of seem to be kind of like that quirkier, artsy type look. I titled this one Vintage Y2K Sunny Lee Green Purple Semi-Sheer Funky Paisley Top plus size 3X, and this one ended up going for an offer of $22. Over to eBay, I think peplum is coming back. It definitely gives me vibes from my bar days. I was definitely a person that wore peplum tops. I wore the vests, I wore the blazers. It looked like I was going to a business meeting the majority of the time when I went to the bar. But that was just the style. This was from Apartment 9. That's another brand that is very good to me as far as style-based pickups. I titled this one Y2K Black Tan Witchy Whimsy Goth Fit Flare Peplum Top Size Extra Large. So this one kind of has a little bit more going for it than, other than it's just a peplum top. This one also went with my 18% off coupon, so they ended up paying about $19 plus shipping. And then the last couple sales are from Poshmark. Honey Love, I just talked about this. I found 2 of this exact same one, and then more of like a heavy duty shaping one, I guess, that had quite a bit of boning at Goodwill, I think like 2 weeks ago. This one sold the same day I listed it for my full asking price of $38. It was a size 1X. It's just, I think people really like this brand. They know how it fits. So I will pick up Honey Love every single time as long as it is in really good condition. This one shocked me that I found Dress the Population at one of those bins Amazon return type stores on Dollar Day. So I paid $1 for this dress. It was new with tags. It was orange, kind of like a trumpet. It had a trumpet skirt to it. Size medium, pretty big slit on the front. And this one sold in under a week for $45. So I'm definitely going to be going back to those places periodically just because every once in a while I find really good brands and they're always like $1 to $2 and it doesn't seem like other people are looking at the clothes very often. So that's definitely a place I will continue going. This is from the brand Archaic. This might be part of Affliction. I'm not sure. I think Sinful is part of Affliction. I don't know if Archaic is, but it's definitely giving the same vibe. This one I titled Archaic Black Purple Cyber Goth Deep V Long Sleeve Tunic Grunge Top Size Extra Large. I picked so many of these up, I don't know if it came from the bins or Goodwill, so I would say my cost of goods is anywhere from like $2 to $4, and it did go for $22. And then the last item, this was that other American Eagle dress. This one had more of a fitted corset kind of top. It had a little bit of like crochet detail, a tiered skirt, and this one was a medium, and this one went for my full asking price of $40. So American Eagle can do well. I think you just definitely need to make sure that you are looking at what the exact style is and sizing in American Eagle. But I've been trying to really do that a lot more than just pick it up based on style, because even style pieces, I feel like it really depends on American Eagle. I don't have any ThredUp sales to share with you guys this week, but I did want to mention that they've definitely changed like their vibe. If you haven't been to ThredUp in a while, like the website, it used to be more of like kind of like bright and fun and kind of a funkier look. They've definitely toned that down, and it just seems very, it looks like the real, honestly, to me. I personally don't really like it. If you are looking at items to buy, before it used to have like this really big emblem that said new with tags and that, their signature green. Now it's just so like underwhelming. I don't know how else to say it. You can hardly even see it, first of all, because the colors are so muted, and I don't know. I'm not a fan of it, but ThredUp's going to do what ThredUp wants to do. I do have an update on the Poshmark shipping supplies. I got some of them. I'm going to show you what I have so far in case you have not seen it yet. This is the shoe box. This is supposed to be like 14.8 by 7.7 by 5.3. To me, it seems like it might be a little bit smaller than the priority ones. I don't have any of the priority ones left, but to compare it to, this is about the size. I mean, you can fit shoes in there. I think boots would probably be an issue. So there's that one. This is, I got 25 of those. This one I wasn't sure what it was going to be, so I ordered 100. I wish that I wouldn't have because these are huge. Okay, look at how big that is. Okay, does it have a size on it? I don't see a size on this, but this is the padded shipping envelope. I also ordered, I think, just the poly mailer. I did see somebody that posted it on TikTok. It is just a normal poly, like, plastic. It's brown. I really want to get that. I've heard it's on back order because obviously everybody's trying to get these supplies. There is also a padded one. It seems to be similar to the flat rate. I would also like to get that one, but I'm just going to wait until I get whatever I get. I don't want to keep ordering stuff. I want to just give them maybe a little bit of a break until they get caught up. But this thing is heavy. I weighed it. It's like 7 ounces. On the inside, it is literally just like a paper bag, like a leaf bag or like a grocery bag. That's what this reminds me of. I just don't really know what I'm putting in here, to be honest, because I'm not going to put a tank top in here. I've been trying to use it as fast as I can just because it takes up a lot of room and I'm not a huge fan of them. So I will not be reordering these again. I have just been doing this. I've noticed that this does not, I've noticed that when I do this, it's not sticking very well, so I am using tape. It could work better if you do this, but I haven't done that. So there's this huge envelope. And then this box I think is supposed to be similar to like the large shipping box. This one is 12 by 12 by 8. I think this one is smaller. I believe the other ones were maybe closer to 14. Maybe not. I don't know. I could definitely be wrong on that. But this one, I think, is the biggest size. So you could definitely get like a sweater in here, maybe a jacket, depending on how big it is, a pair of boots. So I got 25 of those. But yeah, I am waiting for my last shipment to come of whatever envelope I got. And I'm hoping that since I did send 2 emails, I'm not getting double because I really don't need 100 more of those big padded envelope paper things. So that's what I have for you on that. I did also notice, like I said, I am recording this on October 6th, so this could change by the time this comes out. I have noticed that my Poshmark app, I've seen people talking about it in other Poshmark Facebook groups, that it has gone back to searching relevance as opposed to just in or whatever it was, like just shared. So I don't know if maybe they're playing around with the idea of getting rid of sharing. That would be great. I personally don't really see a huge point in it. I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people like it because that's a way to get it into the feed, but from what I'm seeing, the feed is now gone, kind of. I've never once bought anything from the feed, so I'm usually just searching. Obviously, I'm not everybody. Some people might buy things from the feed, and there are people that are upset. So I don't know what they're doing. It could be they're just trying it out to see how it does. I guess time will tell with Poshmark. They don't normally like to give us a huge time frame of before they change things. They just kind of do it. So my question this week, since we are in October, is my favorite month of the year. Halloween is my favorite holiday of the year, if you couldn't tell. If you are a fan of scary movies, horror movies, put your favorite one below. I would say my all-time favorite horror movie ever is Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger is my favorite of like the top slasher guys, I guess you could say. But I do really like Scream. I'd say Scream is like a very close second. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite horror movie is. It doesn't have to be like super scary. If it's Hocus Pocus, it could be more of like a Halloween type movie, like Halloween Town. I always loved that one when I was younger. So put your favorite scary Halloween horror movie, whichever, in the comments below so that I can check them out. And as always, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give it a like. It really helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!